Hello, everyone. I hope this day finds everyone in good health amid this pandemic. I have a few crazy stories for you regarding violent and unfaithful women. Stay tuned. My best friend caught his wife cheating this morning with his coworker and shot the man in his house. He's in jail and everybody's in shock. Help me out. Okay, first off, let me start by saying this is my best friend of 12 years. He's a great guy who works hard and is passionate at his career. Anyways, a little after 11 a.m. this morning, he returned from his work-related business trip and caught his 40-year-old wife engaging in sexual intercourse with his 24-year-old travel partner. According to his travel partner, he ran upstairs and retrieved a silver handgun. He ran back down the stairs and, as the travel partner was putting his clothes back on, shot him once in the back. He collapsed and was rushed to the hospital while my friend fled the scene. His wife called the police and gave them his license plate number. He was caught by police entering the highway and charged with attempted murder, fleeing and eluding, aggravated battery, unlawful possession of a handgun, and possession of hollow point ammunition. This is in the state of New Jersey. No word on bail or bond. His wife has denied the cheating and stated he freaked out and got jealous because she was showing hospitality to his friend. Wow, really? No explanation as to exactly why he was over during that time. By the way, also a very completely different story from my best friend's version of events. This is the second time I've had a friend get charged in a domestic situation in recent months. Is there any way he can get out of this? I don't think so. Is there any self-defense clause he can use because after all a strange man was in his home, right? Not exactly. I'm looking for advice to give him, but I don't want to steer him wrong. He can make a few phone calls during a very short period in the day but no visitations, which sucks. This is going to be a tough one for your friend. Wife still gets upset over the dumbest thing. Long story short, I've caught my wife cheating via messenger for the last few years. The worst was last year when she broke her legs and I took care of her. Obviously, by accident that our son asked me to download a game on her phone last year. I decided to check her messenger and boy, was my heart broken. I dig deeper and it went back to at least 4 years. I confronted her about it and I stupidly believed it was my fault. Fast forward to recently, everything was pretty cool. Her and my son went back to her family's ranch in San Diego. I had a cool weekend and used my computer to log into Facebook. Somehow it logged into hers. Surprise, I found her doing the same thing around her birthday. Full-on sex pics. I confronted her and she admitted her fault and apologized. Even did everything I said about her having to re-earn my trust. Anyhow, I brought up how I had been feeling still. She calls me, we video chat. I make a comment about how she looks like she's wearing makeup. And also how the light makes it look like she shaved her eyebrows. She immediately went into that fight mode. Red flags. I tried telling her I was just making an observation. But she immediately went into how she's been working hard at the ranch. No time to talk to anyone. I'm just demanding of her what to do. I won't let her shower. And I'm like, hold up. I never said that. My gut tells me she is still up to her no good shenanigans. Any help or advice is welcome. Well, if your gut is telling you that she's up to no good, then she probably is. Wife lies and inappropriate conversations continue. I'm 34, she's 32. Been together almost 11 years. Married almost 5. Long story short, she lives about an hour and a half away from work. She was having inappropriate, mildly conversations with her previous boss and spending time drinking with him. He randomly was in town and they went drinking. Ended up at her place. She called me crying saying he came on to her and was being creepy. She said she made him leave. This was May 2019. I believe this fully. I had no reason to mistrust at this time. After this, she began making major efforts to talk with him more and see him more. Listen guys, from my experience, if a woman thinks a man is creepy, she is not going to make any effort to be with him. She's going to do her best to stay away. She would travel down to my town, go drinking with him and supposedly others, and then come to my apartment to sleep before driving back home for work. Eventually, I picked up on what was happening and went through her phone. I found nothing overtly incriminating, but there was enough to know what was up. I'm unsure they had sex, but they were rather flirty and planning trips to see each other. Pretty sure I caught it before they had sex, but that's irrelevant. After this, she claimed no contact with him. She sent him a message in front of me saying the contact was inappropriate and that she values me and needs to put me first. I had cheated when we first started dating and she gave me a chance, so I felt that she deserved a chance. What kind of relationship is this? We started trying to focus on us more, traveled a bit, and then seemed to fall back into routine. From there, I told her I like to reconcile and make things work for the future. I told her then there is no room for more lies or more inappropriate discussions. She came clean at this point that she had another entanglement. This one I was unaware of and turned out to be highly sexually charged. I do not know if they had sex, but I believe they did. There were many discussions she disclosed about sexting, and specifically a lot revolves around him finishing inside her. She told me all of this and also that she had purchased a remote vibrator for him to use while they were at work. Wow. She claimed she never used it because when they tried, the remote didn't have enough range from his office. I do not believe this. From here I should have left. Yes, you should have. For some reason I felt she'd been honest when I asked her to, and so I should try to see where we could go. This was in December of 2019. Since then, I've caught her talking with him and including sexual innuendos at least 3 or 4 times. She's refused to cut him out because she works with him and can't get another job right now because of the pandemic. She said she just keeps making mistakes and doesn't mean to. Bro, you need to cut her loose. I moved into a new place in June. She and her family came to help, and I later found out she was telling him she wanted to have fun physically and likes it hard via text while sitting having dinner with me and her family. I cannot seem to get myself to pull the trigger on divorce and do not understand why. Well, from my experience and just my opinion, you need to cut this woman loose. Called the police on the ex-wife last night. My ex-wife cheated on me before our wedding 6 years ago. She decided to tell me about it after we got married, and she had continued cheating during that time. To be honest, I am not sure how many times she cheated. I caught her doing things so many times, having physical and emotional affairs with both men and women. The worst part was I kept trying to make it work. We had a daughter together during this time as well. I finally have learned to value myself and not accept cheating in a relationship. There were a multitude of reasons we didn't stay together, such as her being lazy, very unsupportive of my dreams as well. But her cheating drove a wedge between us that couldn't be fixed. Our divorce finalized June 9, 2020, and I have been slowly getting all of our accounts split thanks to COVID-19 for making it take so long. During this time, I've been trying to be respectful and nice. However, over the last 2 days, I found some stuff that really made me mad and broke me down. This was yesterday. I was using the computer and found her search history from the day we filed. She was already living with her adulterer. The things that they looked up were mostly about me and very hurtful. I don't want to get into too much detail, but imagine your biggest flaws. It was a final straw. We had to meet later that day for the last account to be divided, and I couldn't even look at her. She kept probing and confronting me, and told her I didn't want to talk about what was wrong. None of her business. She then proceeded to hit me with text after text saying how good of a person she is and how this really shows my character. I responded with, "Was your actions define your character, and anyone who describes themselves as you have is literally a narcissist." She proceeded to call me nonstop from multiple numbers, and I continuously hung up because I don't owe her anything anymore. And then she showed up at my house uninvited, screaming and knocking on all my windows and doors. She always wants to look for a fight, and I have no more fight left. I called the police, and they basically had to listen to both sides and all but shove her in her car to get her to leave. I heard her screaming to the cops, "I'm a good person. I grow things. I'm a hippie. He's just a coward." The cops proceeded to escort her to leave and told her if she came back that there wouldn't be any talking. This pissed her off royally. Then both cops told me I dodged a bullet by getting out of that relationship. Hearing them say that and watching her drive away was so much satisfaction. And even though she has put me through hell, that satisfaction of having some other normal human making me not feel crazy was humbling. That was so much better than stooping to her level and cheating on her, which I never did. Sometimes the high road can be just as satisfying and you don't have to be going or dragged through the mud. Well, I would say you definitely dodged a bullet. Cheating wife got full custody. Should I use this as an opportunity to start fresh? Age 45. I recently got divorced due to my wife's infidelity, but somehow the court granted her full custody even though I had a noticeably higher income and still made significant time to ensure that my kids, one is 14 and the other is 15, We're happy and fed. Played video games with them, helped them study, worked on building a PC from scratch, go to sporting events, etc. Both flat out said they wanted to be with me rather than my now ex-wife. Never cheated or had any issues, but she was granted full custody. Since my now ex-wife has full custody of the kids, should I use this opportunity to start fresh? In other words, start a new family, pick up new hobbies, start a new business. Kids are 14 and 15, meaning that I only have to pay child support for a few years and then I'm free. What's your suggestion? My personal opinion, don't neglect your kids. You don't need to have a relationship with the ex. Maybe somewhat of a relationship because of kids, but don't ever neglect your kids. It may come to bite you in the future if you do that. 27-year-old male caught his wife 27 sexting 15 plus people with explicit images. Some married, also 3 of which go to our gym and 1 is a coach. I caught my 27-year-old wife sexting multiple people on Tumblr last night. We've been married almost 4 years and have been together 8. I've never known or expected her of cheating on me. She told me they were only talking and not exchanging pictures, but they have been talking for a couple of weeks. I was upset and went to bed. I was upset but did not think this was a marriage breaker since we have kids. Her stepkids, my children, and she said she was just wanting attention. I somewhat understood why someone might talk to a stranger, even possibly sext. I've never done this, but we have always been alright with us watching porn. The next day I start digging through all her internet and social media trails. Turns out she has been doing this with 10-15 plus men. She said she has no idea how many. It just didn't feel that bad since it was just on the internet. And it turns out this has been going on for 4 months. And she was doing it with a coach at her gym and 2 other guys from her and my gym. And she was talking to them, messaging them up until yesterday. She was sending them explicit pictures and they were sending them back. I saw the pictures. She swears she never did anything with them, and I messaged them, all of them, to try and get some kind of response from them about it. She said she'll even take a lie detector test, and that she never physically cheated on me. She's getting close. And she has offered to delete all social media and give me passwords to her personal stuff. She told me she will never see or talk to them again. She did all of this stuff at a time where she almost died from a blood clot. I was by her side constantly for 2 weeks and she continued to sext after I constantly took care of her without one complaint. I was just thankful she was alive. I can't believe a word she says cause she seems to keep lying. But she could have told me everything by now. The only reason she stopped is because I caught her. I have no idea what to do right now. I've been thinking of divorce, but it would destroy our family. I have no one to talk to because I am embarrassed about getting completely cuckolded. And I don't want people to think badly of her, and we're getting around to the kids. Please give me some advice, guys who have been through something similar to this before. Well, there's an update to this. People are asking why she did this, and about 4 or 5 months ago she was unhappy with our marriage. Because I became complacent. She made me aware of it, and I have been doing my best to show her more attention. Not get angry with her anymore. She even told me I was so much better and there was no way I'm gonna leave. She said that this is when she started cheating with strangers online. She has been a great wife and friend and is very level-headed. She has raised my children for almost 8 years now. Their mother is pretty much out of the equation. She has been their mother, and my children would be beyond devastated about us divorcing. I really don't know how to get over it. I can't stop thinking about all those pictures and different guys seeing my wife in a way I'm only supposed to. How can I get over this? From my experience, only time can heal these wounds. It's gonna hurt and sting, but you'll get over it in time. I'm 34 and I cannot bring myself to trust my 31-year-old wife. Can't figure this out. It's probably just me. I'm probably being a jerk. I don't think it's my wife's style to talk to me a lot via text when she's going for work. Okay, no big deal, right? Everyone works and some jobs really don't give you the room for that. And like, who cares if she doesn't text you? It doesn't mean anything, right? Except that she sends like a lot of text messages. I don't really know exactly to who though. But I check the phone bills and she texts like 3 to 5 times the amount that I do. Several thousands of messages. We have 2 kids. The kids are great. On the surface, everything is awesome for our family. Decent jobs, cool kids, everything we need. Am I inventing suspicion because I feel guilty and tempted to step out? Probably. I've developed some decent crushes over the years. Why? At least in part to the absences of my wife. Not just the long silences but the abrupt random work hours. Long evenings and no real communication around them. If I pry, she gets angry and I can't really deal with her anger. She flares up and things get confusing really fast. So I've kind of split my mind. I've gotten into trouble for hiding stuff I shouldn't have. I am always acting out of fear, hiding from my wife's anger. Sometimes I'm doing dumb shit I shouldn't. Sometimes it's innocent. But she doesn't trust me fully. I've never cheated on her physically. But I've had some close relationships with some women she didn't appreciate or fully knew about. And I still hold on to this instance where she had a sexual relationship with a dude when we were young. We've been together a long time and this was a long time ago. But I feel like it validates that she has the capacity to do it again. Or to have been doing it. I guess we all do. I'm not in a healthy way about any of this. We have tried a few therapists. It's going not great and flares up and it's painful afterwards. Right now I just tell myself, fuck it. I don't concern myself with her hours or the concept of when she'll get home. I increasingly want to snoop, but it's so stressful. She takes this laptop to work I know she doesn't need. I feel like she's hiding something. Or am I super paranoid and guilty? Or all of the above? Or none? My opinion. If your gut is telling you something, then there's probably something not right. I'm Chidistego. But I don't know if I should restart with my now ex-girlfriend. She is 30 as well. After her being physically violent on several occasions. Confused because I've developed a strong bond with her kids. They're both 5 and 6. Please help. I want to start by saying I am absolutely in love with this woman, despite her negative behaviors. But I think that's clouding my judgment. And I could use some advice. I've known her for over 10 years. Called her Vivi. Lost touch with her. Reconnected. The timing was right and fell in love. It was great. Darn near a dream come true. It was romantic, flirty, passionate. And while that was happening, I developed a strong bond with her kids, who didn't have a strong father figure in their lives. We dated for almost over a year and a half. It was crazy how good it all felt. She's the one for me. At least, I thought it was. I think we moved too fast. During that period, we both opened up and got comfortable. She had her insecurities, and so did I. Doesn't everyone? But I also did start to notice her verbal abuse. It was light and I brushed it off. Arguments would get a little disrespectful, especially on her part. But I shrugged it off, and didn't verbally attack her the same way. That's never cool to do. 5 months ago we agreed to moving in together. And that's when it got way worse on her end. Her verbal abuse got awful. Her guilt trips were used on me frequently. We argued several times a week. I got to a point where I would just say yes to avoid conflict. Meanwhile, the kids and I are doing amazing. They would darn near call me dad by accident. But I never forced them to say anything they didn't want to say. I'd go as far as to say I love these kids like my own. I can't blame her for me using alcohol to escape. But I started drinking more after arguments. And I would just leave her alone. I felt like I needed to just feel something else other than tension and anger. I hate arguing. It leads me to this now. She got crazy physically abusive on several occasions, leaving bruises and scratches on me after heated arguments at night. I never struck her back other than to get her away from me. And for those I feel god awful doing that to my partner. Cops were never called out of embarrassment. I couldn't speak to anyone. We agreed to figure it out together. Then the second time it happened. And I'm left with more bruises and scratches. And the recent one left more marks on me, as well as damage to my personal property. She moved out and I've since fixed and repaired things that were broken. This happened within 4.5 months. What's broken now is she and I can't sleep without seeing the kids again. I know I miss her and the kids, but I can't figure out if it's love or the abused mentality saying I want to go back. She's willing to work it out, take professional advice and work on herself. And even taking steps to replace any money lost during our time together. So I can see she's trying. And the kids keep wanting to talk to me. But I can't get through a conversation without feeling depressed or afterwards breaking down in tears for them. I feel like I lost my family. I know she's a good one because I've seen it. But I think her domestic violence comes from her past as a child and her previous relationship. Let me give you some advice. You can't fix that. She needs to get help from someone else. Is it dumb to try again with her after all of this? Or am I just feeling the effects of an abused person in an abused relationship with domestic violence? Is this depression? I don't know anything anymore because it doesn't seem real. Advice? Work it out with professional help. Run for the hills. I would say run for the hills. Am I not supportive enough for her to help her through this? I just need help. Well, the only help you can give her is step back and let her get her own help. Professionally, first off, I want to say this is not a story about a cheating wife or cheating girlfriend. This is a crazy story about a guy's girlfriend getting into a fight with his brother over politics. Girlfriend and my brother got into a fist fight over a political argument, and now my family is demanding I break up with her. I introduced my girlfriend to my parents, siblings, and extended family on a family get-together a few days ago. This was the first time I had seen them since the start of the pandemic, and it started out really well with everyone getting along and having fun. That would change as more alcohol was consumed. My girlfriend and brother got into a heated political argument that suddenly escalated to violence, resulting in substantial injuries for both of them. Accounts of who threw the first punch differ, and I frankly don't care as they both actively contributed to the fight and antagonized each other. The fight was eventually broken up, but my girlfriend had the clear advantage. My mom screamed at my girlfriend to leave, so we left. I love both my girlfriend and my brother, and I don't blame either one of them for the fight more than I blame the other. My girlfriend also doesn't seem to hold any grudges, and is embarrassed by her behavior during the incident. My brother and parents, on the other hand, place 100% of the blame on my girlfriend and demand that I break up with her or they will cut all ties with me. I will not do that, but I want to maintain my relationship with my family and somehow get them to accept my girlfriend and that she should not bear all blame for this incident. My brother is also demanding that my girlfriend pay for his alleged medical expenses and is threatening to report her to the police if she refuses. My experience of growing up in this town makes me think sexism in the local police department makes it unlikely that anything would come of that report, as they would almost certainly refuse to consider the possibility that a woman can assault a man. I have offered to pay off my brother, but my girlfriend refuses to let me do that and says that she will pay him if he can prove that the medical expenses are real. My girlfriend still has clearly visible injuries but did not visit the hospital. I suggested that she go to get her injuries documented, but she doesn't want to do that. I just wish everyone could forget about this and move forward, but writing this makes me think my family is acting unreasonably, and perhaps I should just cut contact with them as they are threatening to do with me. Perhaps growing up with these people makes me blind to how ridiculous their behavior is. I don't know what I should do. I think everyone will need some time, or at least make an effort to try to get through it. 27-year-old male thinks his girlfriend, 25, is cheating on him with her manager. Hey y'all, my head is going crazy and I don't know what to think anymore. So I'm hoping someone can steer me in the right direction on if I'm overthinking things, or if what I see is actually true. I've been dating my girlfriend now for 4 years and things are usually great. We rarely argue, enjoy doing the same things, have the same friends. About 2 months ago I noticed she was texting her manager a bunch, which started to raise my suspicion, so I brought it up to her attention and she brushed it off and said don't worry about it, and that her manager is an older guy who she's worked with since she was 17. All of her notifications are turned off on her phone, but I will often quickly glance at who she's texting while it's open. As of this week, the texting has yet to stop, and I finally went through her phone when she was in the shower. I found out they both stop and pick each other up breakfast in the mornings before work. One day she does, one day he does. She just bought a bike last month and he bought her a bicycle seat for it. He constantly asks her to hang out and walk the dogs together, or if she wants to go to events with him. When she's not at work, he texts her saying work is so much better when she's there. And I noticed she texts this guy every single day, yet it was the only conversation in the text messages that had the shortest threat, meaning messages were deleted. 2 days ago I sat her down and said I feel like she's cheating on me. I told her I went through her phone and noticed only his messages were deleted and nobody else's were. And her reasoning was that she needed space in her phone. Bullshit. I asked why they pick each other up breakfast when she's not even a breakfast person, and she said they do that to be nice and that she always eats breakfast. I've seen her eat breakfast maybe 10 times.